much for how far we've come. Thank you for all the subscribers. Thank you for all the amazing responses that I've been getting for a while now. So, into this live session, I'll be focusing on two aspects that we have discussed before, but I have seen a reason to further expand and explain as well. So, currently, we are doing a series on the MVQ and we are looking at nutrition and how to ensure balanced diet because summer is upon us, right? Great. But before we dive into that, I just want to come back to our conversation around passion being overrated. This can never be what's the word I'll use now? This can never be underestimated and this can never be overemphasized. It's good to have passion for a job, it's good to have passion around what you're doing, but the facts still remain. If you don't have the right level of understanding around this, you will not be successful. Not because you are not a good worker, not because you don't have the muscle for the task, not because you don't have passion towards what you are doing, but you see, the place of knowledge gathering is super important. And I'll just pick up from the example I talked about the other time. A very good friend of mine, very close as well. When I started the care industry, I she was a mentee to me, yeah, and we were successful in terms of explaining stuff to me, how to do this, how to do that, how to go around this. A few years down the line, things have changed, and what changed? It was just that lack of what's the word I'm trying to really drive home this point. It's one thing to have the knowledge, it's another thing to use it every time. So it was just that moment when you thought you've done everything, but you realize that you've actually not done everything. Does that make any sense to you? So someone fell on a shift, checked the person out, did physical observation, everything was absolutely okay, and that was the end of it. I don't know if there was a paper trail to confirm this, which is something you need to do. If someone falls on your shift, there should be a paper trail to cover that, to evidence that activity, that incident. Other than that, when there is a fall, there is a fall protocol you need to follow. There is a reason for 111, there is a reason for 999. These are protocols that you need to understand and work with. So let's go back to the conversation. This person fell, checked him around, did physical observation, everything was all right. Okay, go back in. 2 days after, the person died. What happened? Discovered at in the hospital that there was internal bleeding. How was this not seen? How was this not picked up during the fall? Was 111 contacted after the fall or during the fall? All of these conversations are what you'll be talking about when you go to court to prove your innocence or you'll go to jail for manslaughter. So you're passionate about your job. You went to job that day. You did all you needed to do that day, but something was missed. A protocol was not observed, and because of that protocol, you are going to jail. So as crazy as it sounds, you need to understand fully the industry you are going into. I'm big on care because that's where I am, right? There are loads and loads and loads of policies and procedures that we need to adequately adhere to and follow. And trust me, you can memorize everything. So there's always a checklist for each event, for each situation, for each behavior, for each scenario. So if you can always go back and check these policies and check this checklists, if I will use that word, you will be fine. And this is all that is necessary. This is all that is important in ensuring that every shift you go, the task is done and it is done rightly. I can't overemphasize that the task is done and it is done rightly. So, what was missed when the man fell? Physical observation is done every time there's a fall. Yes. First, because there was an head bang during the fall, in 111 is a must. Because you can't physically assess the brain, you can't physically scan the head to know if there is a fracture within it. So it's very important that the 111 call is done and there is a check. That's why you have the ambulance guys come around every time. So that's something that was missed and it became something really, really bad. So my advice for you is simple. Every time you go on a shift within the healthcare system, always try and follow the existing protocol for each person because each person is unique, their unique protocol. And also, as an institution and as an organization, there's also a protocol to follow for each and every other task that you are assigned to. So it's also pivotal that you try and follow all of these protocols because if you don't, things can really, really get bad. So that's just one of the things I thought to share. Passion is good, but it can be overrated when the place of knowledge is not, you are not big on the place of knowledge, when you don't embrace learning, when you don't embrace following the agreed way of working, when the standard policies, procedures are not adhered to. There was another story I heard and it was really, really bad. I will try to speak around it, but I will not be able to dive into it completely just to keep the data safe, right? So there was this conversation around someone going for a shift, and the person they were supporting was had pubic hair around the private region, and it was a lot, right? And they thought to say, okay, this shouldn't be right because when there's a bowel movement, it's really difficult to clean. So I said, okay, let's get um, a shaving stick and let's take some of this away. To them, it was a nice idea. Trying to clean after bowel movement was really difficult, and they were like, okay, well, if we do this, people will clean him properly and they will have better outcome for his life. But as beautiful as that was, it was not the right thing because one, you can't tell if the individual prefers that region to be air free or not. So therefore, why will you just jump in and decide that because of what you think is best, you want to take the air away? It's not done anyway. It's not accepted because again, you can't tell if that individual want the air to be there or not. So that takes us again to what we call best interest decision. That takes us to mental capacity. You are not the individual. You can never be the individual. Therefore, you can't assume on behalf of the person. If the person can't take the decision by him or herself, then it means someone else will be responsible for taking those decisions. So the question is, do you know who is responsible for taking those decisions? Some of them could be decisions that your home can make, and you just speak with your manager or your line or your senior and that's sorted. There are some others that you have to speak to the family to take permission. There are some others that the family can't even give permission on. Your home can't give you permission on. You have to hold an MDT meeting that comprises of sister agencies and loads of people to agree that this is in the best interest of the individual. And trust me, it can be tricky, really, really tricky. So it's something that you need to look out for. Yes, you it's good to have the passion for the role. Yes, it's good to be big on supporting the people that you are working for or you are working with, but you need to ask yourself every time before you carry out a task, before you carry out an action that you think is great, is nice, is fabulous, is it will it in your head, in your mind, will create a better outcome for the person. You need to be asking yourself, will this this action of mine, will it ultimately lead to the person's health outcome, or it will lead to my own destruction? Will it be accepted by this individual, or it won't be? Will the management be happy with this or not? So these are conversations that you need to be having with yourself before carrying a task. And when you choose to have this conversation, I will want to point you to the right place for you to go and take your conclusions from. So you think of this in your head. The next thing and the best place for you to go is the person's care plan. Pick up the person's care plan, go to that section and check what the policy is saying about that area of the individual. Is this supposed to be done? Can this be tried? Is there a leeway? Can you try and get something out? You see, this is just the way. There's a reason why care plans were created in the first place. It's because the system does not want people to assume on behalf of individuals. The system wants people to follow a proper guideline, and the level of care should be constant. Because if I come in today, I do my bit, I go off. You come tomorrow and you do just the opposite. In your mind, you are doing the best. But looking at the outcome of each action and every action you've taken is not to the health or best interest of the individual that you have supported. So in order for us to have a constant, consistent approach to things, this document has been created, and this document covers every aspect of the individual. So if you think about anything around the person you're supporting, and it has not been captured in that document, pull your manager and ask. This is not in the care plan or in the support plan of this person. Why? Is it possible that we'll create a care plan to capture this? Is it possible that we can create a care plan to capture that? Okay, now this care plan is here, but I feel and I believe that this does not apply any longer to this individual. He has changed from this to this. She has moved from here to there. Positive or negative. It doesn't have to be all positive, it can be negative as well. But you can identify that this is no longer accurate for the individual. Fantastic. Speak to your manager. If there needs to be an MDT meeting, he or she will set the ball rolling. If it's something you can do in-house, they will crack on with it. But more importantly than all of this is that you are ensuring that the right policies, protocols, and procedures are in place for the person you are supporting. And if you can do this, I assure you, you are giving that individual the best form of support ever. When you leave there and go home every day, you lie to sleep, I am very sure you will have an amazing rest, because you've provided that level of rest to someone else. I hope I've been able to explain, express, and giving you a new light today concerning how to proper position yourself alongside your passion in delivering better care for people, for individuals, and for an organization. If you have a question, I would gladly want to hear. I'll gladly want to respond. I may not be able to respond to all of them, but I will gladly share that which I know. And if there are other people within the platform that can, please, there is no one cap fits all. If you have the answer, share and we'll all learn together. I'm just anchoring the session. You possibly know more than I do, so let's crack on together today, every time. Thank you so much for your time. I'm really, really happy I was able to do this today. Ciao. Bye for now. Keep subscribing to my channel, people. Bye.